Hey everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm here to bring to you my vlog for Cielo's Curious Chapters. So that's right, I'm going to do a completely separate vlog for Cielo's Curious Chapters. I did my roles, I have a TBR, and I'm very excited to dive into it. I've got a lot of interesting books on my TBR, and I would like to get to some Cielo's watch treat prompts, whether I landed on them or not, so we'll see if I can squeeze those in. But first things first, I have finished a book, and that is Murder, She Knit. I was reading this for Go Into a Book blind, and the reason this is a blind read is because I, at some point, got the fourth book in this series as an ebook. I don't think I paid more than like 99 cents for it. It might have even been free on like a Stuff Your Kindle day, and I did not realize when I bought it that it was the fourth book, and then I found out, and I just never got around to starting the series. So when this came up, I realized I don't remember what happens in the description of the fourth book. I definitely don't know what happens in the description of the first book. So it meant that I got to go into the series completely blind. And I was expecting it to have something to do with knitting, murder, and a cat. And I was sort of right. So this series follows Pamela, and she is part of the group Knit and Nibble, which is a knitting group, and this week she is hosting, and she ends up bumping into an old friend, Amy, who is new to this town, and invites her to come along. She doesn't end up showing, and Pamela is concerned, hopes everything is okay, and ends up going outside after the meeting is over and finding her dead in the bushes with a knitting needle in her chest. Pamela quickly realizes that Amy's knitting bag is missing and assumes this must have something to do with the murder, and decides that maybe she can get to the bottom of things. I ended up giving this 3 stars. It wasn't really for me. I wasn't super into Pamela as a character. I wasn't into the mystery of the story. There is a cat that is featured in the story. That wasn't a misnomer, but the cat felt kind of like an afterthought. Like, I don't like how the cat was involved in the story, and I wanted more from that, and I don't know, it was one of those that doesn't click with me, and I don't quite know how to explain it. There wasn't anything, like, super wrong with it. I just didn't connect with the characters or the setting. I didn't connect with the mystery, and I see no reason to continue the series when this one only got 3 stars, and I'm not, like, interested in picking things up. I'm not saying I would have a bad time with book 2. I just don't have any driving need to read book 2, and I would rather continue on with series that really excite me. So this is a pass for me. It means I can unhaul any book, and it means that I checked off my very first prompt for Cielo's Curious Chapters. Then I do have one other update, and that's that I've started to work on my Grab a Meal book by starting No Paw to Stand On. I'm already 104 pages into this, and I'm absolutely loving this. This is, I think, book 12 in the Bookmobile Cat Mystery Series, and we're back with Minnie. And the reason this is Grab a Meal is because Minnie's best friend, Kristen, owns a restaurant, and she ends up calling Minnie upset one night because a bunch of her customers got sick after eating a specialty ice cream she served, and she wants Minnie to figure out what happened and why her customers got sick. So it is food related. And I thought this would be a really interesting book to fulfill this prompt with, given that it's a Bookmobile Cat Mystery Series, so you wouldn't be thinking it would have anything to do with food, but this installment absolutely 100% does. So I was very excited that it gave me an excuse to dive back into the series. Like I said, am loving being back with Minnie and Eddie and the Bookmobile and trying to help Minnie's friend this time. I'm very curious as to what's going on and what happened with this ice cream and how things are playing out, and how it's kind of turning into a bigger deal than Minnie was expecting. Very, very invested in this. Don't know where I'm going to go after this when I finish it, like what prompts I will move on to next, because I've got a lot of options. But whenever that is, I will check back in with you and give you another update. But I think this is going to get a 4-star rating. Maybe even higher, but I'm betting 4 stars because I'm really invested in this one. And that is my Cielo's Curious Chapters update for the moment. We'll see how the rest of the month plays out, but so far I'm on day 9. It's 1:38 in the morning on day 9 of May. I'd hoped to have a few more books done, especially considering I have a final book support group round this month, and I purposely made it so that none of my Cielo's Curious Chapter books were on my final book support group. So that's going to wipe out an entire week. So we're going to see how it goes. I have a lot of mysteries to get to, but I'm very, very excited. And I'm sure Cielo is too, wherever she's currently at. I would pop her up here. I would give you some Cielo content, but alas, she's not around. So I will try to get some B-roll of her for you specifically for this vlog at some point this month. And I will check back in when I have another update and I have finished some more books. So I am back because I have finished No Paw to Stand On. I gave this 4 stars. I did really enjoy how this turned out. I thought the mystery was interesting, and I also loved the background stuff, the stuff that was going on in Minnie's life that she had to juggle while trying to deal with this mystery that was going on and putting the pieces together to help her best friend. I adore Eddie. He makes these books for me. He's just so much fun. I love the scenes where Minnie will be talking to Eddie about what's going on and will interpret the way he looks or a meow he makes or a gesture he makes as him having a conversation. And a lot of times it certainly feels like he is reacting to the things she's saying. I really loved the end of this book and how that kind of came together and how the mystery wrapped up. This is a series I absolutely adore. And Bookham Eddie, the 13th book in this series, is on my May TBR. Not my Cielo's Curious Chapters TBR, but is on my May TBR. So I will be able to catch up on this series in the month of May, hopefully. I think it's on phase 10, so I kind of have to. So very excited to be able to get to that this month as well. And wanted to let you know that I've actually made some progress. And the reason I'm doing that instead of waiting until I have a little bit more, because this clip is going to be incredibly short, is because of the fact that I am now going to be doing the Funnel Book support group. So there's no guarantee I will read anything for this vlog for another week. So I wanted to check in about this before I forgot what I wanted to say about it. So that is my check-in. Based on the numbers, I do need to read books that are not for the Funnel Book support group if I want a shot at finishing my May TBR. So it is very possible that I may read something for this. I know I have a few out from the library right now via audiobook that I might want to get to because of the timing. Let me see. Murder on the Orient Express is due in 4 days, so that's probably something I may get to. I have A Scandal in Mayfair for 18 days, and Read to Death at the Lakeside Library for 18 days, so I don't necessarily need to get to those, but because I have the audiobooks, I might. So it is very possible that you actually do see me in the next week, and that I pop back on here and let you know what I'm thinking of those, if I pick any of those up. I don't have any concrete plans. I'm just hoping to check in as I read some stuff, and I figured that on the off chance I don't actually touch any of my Cielo's Curious Chapters TBR, it was better to let you know about this than to have it sitting around, because I do believe Bookham Eddie is on my Funnel Book support group TBR. I could be wrong about that. But if it is, I didn't want to read Bookham Eddie, talk about Bookham Eddie in that vlog, and then have to backtrack and try to remember which events happened in this one. So that is where I'm at, and I will check back in with you, hopefully sooner rather than later, to let you know that I've actually made some more progress on my Cielo's Curious Chapters TBR. So y'all, I'm back with another check-in for Cielo's Curious Chapters. So despite it being Final Book Support Group week, I did manage to squeeze in one of my books from Cielo's Curious Chapters, mainly because I was playing Libby Chicken. And you can tell by the cover which one it is, right? It's just clear as day. So for those of you that do not recognize a just completely black hardback and can't guess what book it is just based on the naked hardcover, it is Murder on the Orient Express. And I think I'm holding that upside down. Yes, I am. Let's try that again. Murder on the Orient Express. That's better. I have finally gotten to the Hercule Poirot book that I have been waiting to get to. And this is the reason I started with Poirot as opposed to Miss Marple, because I wanted to read Murder on the Orient Express. And y'all, it did not disappoint. I gave it 4.5 stars. I had such a good time with this one. Such a good time. So in this one, Poirot is on a train that gets stranded in the snow, and there's a dead body on the train, and he is trying to figure out which of the other passengers on the train committed the crime. And this left me guessing till the very, very end. I was enthralled. I didn't want to put it down. I will say, I'm not going to show you, but I'm trying to figure out, I think it's, let me see if I can find it. So part 2 of this book is evidence, and we get like an illustration here of the train car. So we know who was in what berth and where, and how that kind of played out on the train. And I would show it to you, except somebody drew in my copy of the book. And I thought for sure, because there are dots next to certain people's names, and there's one that is slightly different. It's got like a greater than sign with the dot, that it was telling me who did it. So I thought for sure, by looking at this drawing, recognizing the writing in it, that I was getting spoiled. I was not. Which is why I'm not showing you the drawing, because I don't want you to know what was on that page. Because I wanted to be able to say that I was worried my copy of the book almost spoiled the book for me. And I got lucky that it didn't, because I would have been very, very upset if it had. That would have very much frustrated me. So I'm glad to say that that is not what happened. I am once again realizing after reading this why Agatha Christie has the reputation that she has, why Murder on the Orient Express is brought up so much, and why people talk about it so much. It is not my favorite Christie, that's still And Then There Were None, but it is definitely up there. Probably my second favorite. I had such a fantastic time with this, and I'm so glad that Ride a Train came up so that I could finally read this. So that is my little mini update. I finished one more book, which is one more book in the right direction. So I will be back when I have picked up something else. Probably not during the final book support group, but soon I will start churning out books for this vlog and hopefully get through my Cielo's Curious Chapters TBR, which would be really, really nice. We are officially 3 weeks into May, and I am not doing as well on my Cielo's Curious Chapters TBR as I thought I would be, but I do have another small update for you. The first is that I finished A Scandal in Mayfair. I gave this 3.75 stars. This follows Lily, who is a widow and ends up taking on different mysteries. This is set in the early 1800s in London, and Lily has developed a bit of a reputation of being someone of a higher class that can discreetly solve mysteries, and she gets written a note that asks for help. When she meets with the young lady gives her quite the puzzle. Her father died and left her uncle, who he had been estranged with, in charge of her, and the uncle has sent her to live with like an aunt or a cousin, and is controlling all of her family's money and the family home. And while that isn't uncommon, that is not what she was led to believe would happen upon her father's death, because her mother died a long time ago. And she's hoping that Lily can help her find the will and find some information about why her uncle is doing this and whether this was actually her father's wishes. However, this is nothing but a straightforward case, and soon there is blackmail involved and a dead body, and Lily is up to her eyeballs in another mystery. I thought the mystery was interesting. It wasn't my favorite mystery, but I still definitely enjoyed the mystery part. I was less into the background stuff in this one. We're 5 books in, and when book 5 was getting ready to come out, I eagerly anticipated it, and I couldn't get my hands on it, and it's like now that I have it, it wasn't a high priority. When did this come out? Was it last year? 2024. So this came out in 2024. So it took me like 2 years to get to this. And I remember being really excited for it when it came out. And I just didn't care as much by the time I finally picked it up. It's not a bad story, and I'm not planning on DNFing the series or anything like that. It just didn't hook me the way I think the first 4 did, because I'm not the reader in 2026 that I was in, 2023 and 2024. I've also highly increased the amount of cozies I've read in the past few years, and while this is historical, it's still got a more cozy vibe, and I think that I just don't like Lily as much as some other characters. Like, a historical mystery series I really enjoy, that I'm very excited for, that the new book comes out in May. I think it doesn't come out till the end of May, or I would have read it for this prompt, is the next book in the Lady Hardcastle series, and that follows Lady Hardcastle and her lady's maid Flo, and the relationship between Flo and Lady Hardcastle is so integral to that series, and I just love it so much that I'm like really, really excited for that series and to see what the two of them get up to. And Lily has relationships in here, but they don't excite me the way Flo and Lady Hardcastle do, so I think that is where some of it kind of shows its differences in what makes a series at this point really exciting for me. And I think because I read so many mysteries, a lot of the mysteries feel very similar. They don't necessarily stand out to me. I have to connect with the characters in a mystery, I think, to really enjoy the story. I mean, the mystery has to be solid, because if the mystery is bad, I won't care. Even if I do really like the characters, because that's half the story right there. But all being said, the ones I'm going to be most drawn to are the ones where you have decent to really good mysteries, and I've connected with the characters. And this one is not necessarily doing that. It'll be interesting to see what I feel about book 6. I think there's going to be a book 6. There might even already be a book 6. I don't know. I don't think so. But I'm not like chomping at the bit to pick it up. This didn't leave me with that burning desire to continue on with the series. So we'll see where I go with this one. My plan is to continue on with the series, but like I said, it's not necessarily a high priority series anymore. And then the other book I've made progress in is Read to Death at the Lakeside Library. I picked this up tonight because I needed something simple, and I got to page 76, and I'm enjoying this so far. We're following Rain, who in the first book goes up to her family's lakeside property that is usually open in the summer, and she needs an escape and feels that's a good place to escape to. She used to go up there all the time when she was younger and kind of reconnects with people she knew, ends up stumbling across a dead body, and the first book kind of rolls from there. And since book 1, she's made a home at this lakeside cabin. This is where she wants to be year-round. She's turned this little library that her mom was kind of running out of the cabin into a proper library. In this one, she starts up a book club, and at the meeting, they discuss the book they've been reading. They all head off home, and then one of the participants in this book club ends up dead, and the circumstances certainly seem similar to the book they had read for this book club. So Rain ends up starting to investigate. So far, I'm enjoying it. I'm intrigued. I like the idea of what was the victim up to? Does it have anything to do with the book club? Was it another member of the book club? How does it tie into the book they were reading? Is that a red herring? I'm curious to see what happens with Rain in this one. I definitely remember enough of the background that I know which series I'm in, which is very, very important. That can be tricky with the amount of cozy mysteries I read. If I don't read enough of them close together, I might lose which cozy mystery is which, but I distinctly remember the details of the second book, so I have a solid knowledge on which to build this one, even though it's been several months since I read book 2. So enjoying this one so far, and hopefully will continue to enjoy it through the end of the book. And that is my little mini update. Like I said, I still have a lot of books to read, so we'll see if I can get to them, but so far I'm doing all right, and I feel like I have the potential to finish the books because none of them are super hard reads, so fingers crossed I managed to get to them. I will try to check back in with you when I have a few more books read. So it is officially June, which means it is time to wrap up my Cielo's Curious Chapters vlog. And I did not finish my TBR. I have at least 4 books I can think of off the top of my head that I didn't get to. One of which I did start. The 3 I can think of that I didn't start are Death and Denugion. I think that's how you say it. The Whisking Hour and the Clockwork something. It's a middle grade and I was reading it for Clock on the Cover, and I know I didn't get to any of those. And that stinks. The one I'm in the middle of is The Calamity at the Carnival, and this is the next book in the Firefly Junction series. I got like 64 pages in, and we're following Sunny, I think that's her name, who is a reporter, and she is taking care of her sister's farm. She's got 2 sisters, and one of them is out of town, and she and her other sister are keeping an eye on the third sister's farm, and the carnival is also in town, and she visits the carnival, and it's not the best carnival in the world. But on another visit, after her boss assigns her to write an article about the fair, she's going to find a body, or somebody's going to be murdered. I think we're right at that point where I'm at in the book where we're getting to the point where we're going to have like the murder happen. So I was definitely into it. I just set it down, and because it's an ebook, I think I kept forgetting that I was partway through it and then didn't pick it up, and other things took priority. So it is one I'm enjoying and want to get back to. It just was not one that was front and center in my mind. And I also had a Cielo's watch treat prompt, and I think it was to spell mystery with mystery book Rex, and I just never sat down and made a graphic for that. I know I had looked because I was really, really struggling with Y, because I could not think of any books whose title started with Y, but I do think I found one, and I just never went back to sit down and make a graphic, and it really stinks because I was really excited that I had found one and was like, okay, I think I can actually do this. Oh, I would need two because there's 2 Ys in mystery. Never mind. I completely missed that there's 2 Ys in mystery, and I definitely only had one. I was struggling to find the one. So maybe it was just as well that I didn't end up doing that, but like it was hard to go through the books I've read and go, okay, what have I read that starts with this that I can really get behind recommending if one's not immediately coming to mind, because my computer is struggling. I know that I have to sit here, and there are days when it's like very comfortable, but I have my fan on, so I'm like in here in my hoodie and my beanie shivering because the fan has to be aimed at my computer and I don't want the fan on. So I'm avoiding my computer at times because I don't want to sit at my computer if I have to have the fan on to do anything. So stuff like that is taking a backseat. So I didn't get to that. But the one book I did get to that I hadn't already updated you on was that I finished Read to Death at the Lakeside Library. I gave this 3.5 stars. This was a fine mystery. I can already tell you I've forgotten a lot about it because I finished it like a week ago. And I just never sat down to check in because I think I finished it right before the pay-per-view, and then I was going to check in, but I was so drained from everything with taking my TV stand apart and getting things set up for the pay-per-view, and the pay-per-view is draining. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, check out my weekly vlog for that. It would be the one after the final book support group where I would get into this, or yeah, I think it would be that one, or it would be the one for the last week of May. I might have talked about it in there, but it's one of those two. And it just completely drained the spoons out of me. And then I had so much I needed to film and edit and upload. The editing part wasn't bad because I've been doing really great with that. So it's not like I was massively behind. Like I just today, because it's June 1st, wrapped up my last vlog of May. If it had uploaded in a timely manner, the vlog between the final book support group in the last week of May would have already gone out because it's been edited. I was just waiting for it to upload and it didn't want to upload. So I actually did really well on that front. It just meant that I had less time to read this week because I needed to film. Let's see, what did I film this week? I filmed my Queer Lit Readathon TBR. I filmed my anticipated June releases that snuck up on me. I filmed my Phase 10 TBR, and then I had to edit and upload stuff, and I caption my Queer Lit Readathon TBR every single year. And so I had to do that as well, and my computer was not happy with that. I mean, it got through the captioning part, but it did not get through the writing the description without crashing. So you can see I'm having some computer issues. Anywho, that is not what you're here for. You're here to hear about this. So it feels like it's been a good 2 months since I finished this one. So this one was the one about the book club and our main character, Rain? Yes. Rain. Very good, Chris. You actually remembered a name for a change. So our main character, Rain, is running this little library at her like lakeside cottage that she's now living in full time. And she hosts this book club. And then one of the members ends up dead in a very similar way to the mystery of the book that they were reading for the book club. And so she starts to investigate. And it was fine. This series has been aggressively fine the whole time. It was not my favorite. There's only 3 books in it. And I can't say that I'm chomping at the bit to pick up another one. I think this is one that I wouldn't be upset if there was no more books in the series. Like, it's not done much for me. Like, I'm trying to think. The Southern Homebrew Mystery series is one that only has 3 that I really wish there was more of because I liked the dynamic there. But I feel like that's starting to become common, is that a lot of these cozy mysteries are getting like the first 3 books, and if they don't do as well as expected, it's just kind of stopping there, which is fine because cozy mysteries have the main storyline of the characters, so like the relationships they're building. Usually they eventually fall in love maybe and have a relationship, and that kind of weaves through the background. but the mysteries are contained. So it's not like they're leaving you on any huge cliffhangers usually when it comes to the mystery aspect. And usually any personal stuff is kind of tied up in that book. So I don't necessarily feel like I need another one, but if there was another one, I would probably read it, if that makes sense. So this was perfectly fine. Like I said, most of the details have faded, and that was the end of my Cielo's Curious Chapters. Like I said, I honestly thought I was going to have more for you. I almost checked in, and if I had checked in, I would have absolutely nothing to tell you because I didn't get to any of the other books. I didn't even look at them, really. So it's just as well I didn't check in and tell you that I would check in again because I didn't end up reading anything. So this actually worked out okay that I didn't end up having the spoons to check in earlier. I hope y'all had a better Cielo's Curious Chapters than me, and I hope y'all enjoyed the Cielo B-roll. I did get you a couple of Cielo B-roll clips, so hopefully y'all at least enjoyed the Cielo content in this Cielo-themed vlog. Thank you all for joining me for my Cielo's Curious Chapters vlog, and thank you to all who participated. I hope you had a great month, even though I wasn't as active as I'd hoped to be because my May just did not go the way I planned. So that is all for Cielo's Curious Chapters this year. Hopefully I will see you back here next year. I want to say once again, thank you to Text, Omi, and Manda for all of your help with this readathon. It made things so much easier on me to know that y'all have my back and were helping me get this out for everyone. And I will see you all back here next year for another year of Cielo's Curious Chapters. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me mystery-themed emojis, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!